Nice to meet you. My name is Karissa Milbury, and I'm here to talk to you today about my social media-based project as part of my dissertation. So you'll see here that I'm a PhD candidate in the Genome Science and Technology program here at UBC, and I do my genetics research here at the BC Cancer Agency that's located up at the VGH campus in the Terry Fox Laboratory. And my research group is interested in looking at how when certain genes are mutated, they may predispose a cancer to develop. And while that's all very interesting, I'm actually not going to talk to you about my hardcore genetics today. I'm going to tell you more about my development as a science communicator. So science communication, or SciComm in brief, is simply how science is communicated to and translated for the public and how they consume it through various media. And this is really important because the way that we talk about science to the public and the way the public thinks of science and regards how we do our work really influences the sort of political pressures that are put on funding agencies that directly influence what we do, what research gets done, and which scientists get to do that research. In my field in particular, genetics is at the forefront of several very public debates. Just for example, expanded screening for newborns, so genetic screenings, genetic modification of agricultural products, and genetic technologies like three-person IVF. These are all in the news a lot, and it's important to us as geneticists that people understand why we're doing these things, how these things are being done, and why. So we used to think that the best way to make people more science literate was just to give them more science, and that the more you teach, the more science literate they will be, and the better society will be as a consequence. But research shows time and time again that this is just not how it works. And the best way for people to learn science and to become literate in it is to engage with it and to participate in hands-on ways directly with science and learn about the underlying principles. And this is something that's been used to wonderful success in the K-12 system and in colleges and universities. But the people that this misses are the adults who have already left those systems. And that's a shame because adults are the ones who are in the best positions to take advantage of new scientific information in important decision making. So decisions about what sorts of nutrition they want to provide for their families or how they want their medical care to be carried out. So I think it's really important that we reach these people, and the point of my project is to attempt to do just that and to ask how can we better serve the adults that aren't captured by educational programs, and how can we engage with them on scientific topics in ways that not only translate the scientific information but respect their capacity to understand that information and allows them to express the hopes and fears they may have about it. So science communication isn't new, and there's already plenty of researchers doing just that. Platforms such as Twitter and YouTube online have been a boon to science communication, the science communication community, because that allows them to reach out massively and engage with people who may not usually be exposed to this sort of information. But for me, I want a bit more of a hands-on approach. And the opportunity I've chosen for that is this, the Allied Genetics Conference that is going to be held in Orlando, Florida this coming July. Now this conference is going to bring together a number of different genetics research communities that have never been in the same place together at the same time. It's going to be absolutely massive. So I think that this is a fantastic opportunity to invite the public in to meet those people. And so we're setting up an outreach booth where they can come in, they can ask questions and meet us, they can connect with us, and they can also tell us how we can do our jobs better. There are lots of science communicators in this community that will be there that are very eager to hear from them. Now, the Genetic Society of America, who's organizing this conference, already has online education resources for teachers and for the public. And so part of my project as well, after the conference is concluded, will be to use the genetic knowledge that I'm gaining from my hard research side of my dissertation to beef up those resources with what I've learned. And as well, I do volunteer locally with the TELUS World of Science. I do a little bit of high school, after school program teaching on genetics, and that's been really fun. And more compelling to me, the world of science is now looking towards more adult-oriented programming, so I really hope that I can be a part of that as we move forward. So I have been a science communicator for a little bit of time now. I started my Twitter account about 6 years ago, and I found that it's a fantastic platform to connect with people. And I find that being candid about what genetic research is like and what being in a lab is really like is a great way to be approachable to people who maybe wouldn't feel comfortable otherwise speaking to a scientist. And although the response has been almost overwhelmingly positive, I have experienced a bit of what makes it so scary to be the person sticking your nose out for science. And it can be really intimidating to be the face of a field that you're relatively new to as a trainee. So this is something that at first I really grappled with. But what I've come to understand is that even though it's difficult, I truly believe that this is a natural complement to a research degree. And I do think that learning how to accept other people's perspectives is going to enhance the research I do, as well as giving back to the public and sharing what I've learned in ways that maybe they could find useful in their everyday lives. So I'm part of a growing tide. The science communication community is moving from this sort of knowledge deficit model where we just need to pump you full of science more towards a sort of dialectical approach where science communication is a two-way street. We create it together. It's the scientists and the public coming together to create that meaning and take meaning from it. So not everyone's going to be a science communicator, not everyone's going to be able to be an ambassador for their field, but I think that the more of us who are willing to stand up and do that, and the more people who are willing to communicate these innovations in a way that's meaningful for people, the better science communication will be, the better the science will be, and the more we can advance public discourse in a way that can really help people. So thank you very much for your attention. Check me out on Twitter, and I'd be happy to take your questions at the break.